begin, may I join honourable members in thanking you, Mr Speaker, for your long and distinguished service to the House. And though we may not always have agreed on everything, I believe you've always acted in what you judge to be the national interest, Mr Speaker. So, with Mr Speaker, with permission, I beg to move the motion standing in my name under the Fixed Term Parliament Act. Last Wednesday, the Right Honourable Member for Islington North became the first leader of the opposition in the history of our country to show his confidence in Her Majesty's government by declining the opportunity to have an election with a view to removing the government. Though when he spoke last week, it seemed that he might recover his nerve tonight, and I wait to see how he responds. Referring to his surrender bill, he said, and I quote, last week, "Let this bill pass and gain Royal Assent, and then," he said, "we will back an election." Well, the surrender bill, the Surrender Act has now passed. It has gained Royal Assent. He has done his level best to wreck this country's chances of a successful negotiation. By his own logic, he must now back an election. And so, Mr Speaker, I am retabling the motion for an early date general election. I don't want an election. I hope this step would be unnecessary, yet I have accepted the reality that an election is the only way to break the deadlock in the House and to serve the national interest by giving whoever is Prime Minister the strongest possible mandate to negotiate for our country at next month's European Council. Labour, too, have accepted this reality. In their own leaflets this weekend, they say, we need a general election now. We need a general election now. That's what it says. And yet, throughout the weekend, the Right Honourable Gentleman's cronies, together with those of other opposition parties, have been trying to disguise their preposterous cowardice by coming up with ever more outrageous excuses for delaying an election until the end of October or perhaps November, or when hell freezes over. In the dither, delay and procrastination that has become the hallmark of the opposition. Why are they conniving to delay Brexit in defiance of the referendum, costing the country an extra £250 million a week for the privilege, £250 million a week for the privilege of delay, enough to upgrade more than 5 hospitals and train 4,000 new nurses? The only possible explanation is that they fear that we will win it, Mr Speaker. I will win it and secure a renewed mandate to take this country out of the EU, a policy they now oppose. And that is the sorry tale of this opposition in this Parliament. For the last 3 years, they have schemed to overturn the verdict of the British people, delivered in a referendum, which, in a crowning irony, almost all of them voted to hold. In fact, Mr Speaker, they didn't just vote to hold it. Some of them even, I'll give way with pleasure to the Honourable Lady.